is Richard Thomas, known as Wolfpaw to some. He was the chief of the Marten band of the Ramapough Lunaape people until fairly recently. He's a 1972 graduate of Columbia University with a master's degree in architecture. He designed award-winning dormitories at Yale University, which was published in Architectural Record magazine in 1971. He designed an award-winning addition to the Faith United Methodist Church in 1982 and oversaw construction on one of the first handicap accessibility additions built on Staten Island. He also designed and planned the Lionel Hampton houses in Harlem. Richard is a partner with AMPED Architecture, LLC architectural firm from Long Island City, New York. Richard is also the recipient of the Lucille Lowen-Smith Award and Columbia University's Fellowship Award. Columbia University's Kinney Travel Fellowship Award. In recent years, Richard has designed a world-class museum featuring the history and culture of indigenous people everywhere, especially on Turtle Island. So here to show us and tell us more about this design and this museum, Richard Thomas.
Thank you, Judy, for the introduction. Good afternoon. Name Nishinzi, Richard Wolfpaw DeGroat Thomas. I come from the Ramapough Mountain, my ancestors did. I do live in Staten Island, which is the home of the Lunaape natives. Not too many people knew that. So basically, we're located in the Rockland County, New York, New Jersey. My grandparents specifically came from Hilburn, New York. I would like to take this opportunity and acknowledge the Persen House during the indigenous family, the people's group. So basically, I'm going to go through the genesis of where I got to, where I came to, this particular journey, basically. In 1969, I was blessed and fortunate to get a scholarship from Columbia University, School of Architecture. I enrolled in a master's program where I graduated in 1972. Before graduation, I realized and found out that I happened to have native lineage, in particular, Muncie Lunaape. My grandparents came from the Ramapough Mountains. Did not know it until a week before I went to grad school. So this has started me. I then became a member, a chief of, like Judy said, of the Marten band. We had bands and clans. And before I go any further, I'd like to thank Carla for her speech. I'm still learning. You don't find out until you're 29 years old who you are. My journey took me another way. I'm learning and I'm blessed to have this knowledge. The genesis, again, where I learned who I was, became a member of the Lunaape people. New caller. In one particular meeting, there was a meeting about a proposed building. And an elder came forward and said, why not the turtle? I had no idea what a turtle, I knew what a turtle was, but I didn't know the significance of a turtle. Turtle is very spiritual. And basically, turtle basically was from a Latin word called testudines. Testudines meaning special shell. I had no idea. So I did some research. On the turtles. Come to find out that a turtle, some of you probably know it and some don't, have lived between 200 and in some cases 500 years. It's amazing. So again, I said, okay, now see what I can do in terms of designing. And I started to design. This afternoon's talk would be about a building 200 to 300,000 square feet, which comes to be about 564 yards. And put that in perspective, 188 yards equals a 2 football fields long. Okay. So basically, I started on it took me years to do this. It didn't take me a day, a month, it took me years to do it. And I was blessed to be able to do it. It was a spiritual journey. It was a journey of love. Something that I wanted to do. And so at this time, I'm going to walk you through, and I'll put up what I've done and what this turtle, for those who can't see. Those over here can't see. They can get up and move. So basically, the reason why it's like this is because it got caught in the rain a little bit. Get something to put back there so I won't fall. Yeah, that's great. That's great. That is great. We always had to improvise. So basically, this is it. Wow. This is, and for those who can't, over there can't see, this is the plan view. You know, everything has a plan view before you see this. This is what you see. You say, whoa, how do you do that? Comes from the plan. And basically, you start at the top. Remember I talked about special shell? The special shell is also what they do with the, how would you say, the solar panels. Building everything blue you see is solar. Wow. So I incorporated that in this particular building. So the heat in the winter, cool in the summer. And we'll go now into after the shell, I knew that the building was this long. So I came up with the legs of the turtle to put a train, a small train that would go through the legs of the turtle, because who wants to walk 564 feet? And especially for the elders and for the children, it was done. So you come into the building, the first thing you see is a 4-story aquarium. Wow. With basically, it's 4-story. Here, later on after the speech, you can come up and look at it. This is what it looked like as I was designing and building it. I did the model. So 4-story, you have the area you come in. You can see it from the front, but you come in from both sides and from the rear. And to get there, up top, you come in on the elevators. Okay? And as you go, we're going to go right straight through it. It basically was a reflecting pool. and a sitting area with native chiefs of different tribes across the country that you'll be able to see. Also, some of the legs of the turtle basically were exhibits for animals, for birds, and these were changing exhibits. Okay, and as you go further on, there's something very important for the wellness gardens. The natives like gardens, of what we basically grew and what we ate, and the medicines that came from it. For those who don't know, aspirin came from the willow tree. People didn't know that. So that was an important function of this building. As you go further to the world-class theater in the building, that's underneath the shell, an important shell. And here's another thing which shows the rail that connects, or structural. This building, there's no columns in this building. It's all what they call post and beam. So you'll be able to walk through. You come through the entrance, there's a color scheme. The color scheme is white. This is the Lunaape colors. Black, red, and yellow. It's all the people in the universe, in this country. And the reason Turtle Island, some of you don't know, Turtle Island is descriptive from America, and it's shaped like a turtle. So Turtle Island is the People's Museum. This particular thing here is the structure upside down of the special shell. So this, it's not just here, you had to be able to design it or to stand up. So anyway, this is my particular drawing. Here's the third floor. You have, the second floor before the third floor. You have a library, which is very important to tell the story. Not only to tell the story, but to tell about the treaties that were broken in America. It did not acknowledge one treaty. There was only one tribe in America that didn't sign a treaty, and that were the Seminole Indians, for those who don't know. So you could access not the museum, but the actual library, the rail system, which is good. And probably in a nutshell, Bill took years to do. It was a labor of love, and I'm still tweaking certain things. I want to be friendly to the children, and in some of basically the turtle legs upstairs I have areas for children, for daycare, for those people that can't do this 564 feet in a day. They want to bring their children into the area of babysitting. So again, if there's any, I try to put a lot into this particular talk. If there are any questions about how I got there, etc., etc., the floor is open to you, and I hope that you enjoy me telling my story and where I've come to. You had a question?
What is this building? What does it use? I mean, what does it have a
Well,
name?
the building is not built yet. The model's done, the drawings are done. It's going to be a museum, hopefully near water. Manhattan, first people, it was called Manhattan. That's what Manhattan was called. Governor's Island could be a place. It becomes political, where it's going to be.
But what's
the name of the
name
museum,
of the building?
The name of the museum.
Oh, Turtle Island.
Oh, it's a museum.
Yeah, right, it's a museum.
okay.
I've named it Turtle Island because the shape of North America was shaped of a turtle. Yes, ma'am.
What is the significance of the blue color?
Well, there is no real, I chose the blue, that's my colors. I happened to choose the blue color, could have been green, but I chose the blue and the white. I just architecturally, I happen to like it, like the color of it, and I think that was my choice to do as an architect.
I was wearing a color.
I think he likes that color.
I think it brings out.
Turtle needs water. Right, the turtle needs water, she said.
Turtle does need water, and there are two turtles, there's the sea turtle, and there's the land turtle. But I didn't know that the significance was the shell was special. The shell was a special thing. Didn't know it. Again, we learn something new every day. So, any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Is there things that can be done to help amplify this project where
Well, right
we as a
yet-
community can help support this idea and
Yes,
bring it?
I don't have a website on it yet, but I'm going to, I've been to Columbia University, they like the idea. They're looking at making sure every other school, like Dartmouth, Yale, Harvard, could contribute to this, and all of the native tribes, the big tribes, like basically the Mohegan Sun, tribe had a lot of money. Mohegan Sun, the Seminole, which has the latest, I think it's the latest museum and handicap area, not handicap, basically we're talking about the native, what are we trying to think of the word we call it? It's a money-making, it's a money-making area. All natives try to make the money. They took our land, so we're trying to recoup our money.
Good luck on that.
In our funds or what have you. But I say this and we laugh a little bit about it, but the journey that the natives had, I want this to tell a story of all the artifacts, the story of what happened, the good and the bad. And I'm sure that they don't want to teach the history. They don't want to teach the history of what happened to people in this country. They're trying to take our books away. They can't take what's in my mind away to design this, to tell the story and the real story. And, you know, yes, ma'am.
Can you talk about the difference between, say, the Smithsonian, because when they opened that, we danced there when they first opened it, and they would not include anything about what was done to the native people in this country. They would not touch it. They only wanted to deal with the current culture or what the history was. Can you talk about what you'll be showing in this?
Good question. You're right. They don't want to tell, they don't want you to, the real story to be told. This museum will have no, that's why it's going to be a little harder than the Smithsonian to build something, and all you do is make money. This is not only going to make money, but it's going to tell the real story. I do have a place where you can buy gifts, but in a part of the museum that's okay. But everything else is going to tell the real story. The real story, what happened to natives in this country. Not only in this museum basically going to have some Central America and South America. Because they were natives, they were Indians. As we say, we don't use the word Indians from India, but some people still use the word Indians, but it's really native to the land that we grew up in, the land that I feel, and didn't learn the culture until 29 years old, but I'm still learning. And that's why I want to bring something like this forward to America. But that was a great question, young lady. Colin.
Can I read a quote from an unknown author about what you just said about history?
Sure.
History is not there for you to like or dislike. It's there for you to learn from. If it offends you, it's even better because you are less likely to repeat it. It's not yours to erase or destroy.
Okay, that's very good.
Good quote.
Good. Yeah, Bill.
And it's unknown author.
Unknown.
I'd just like to know if, I presume, you're going to have some kind of research library component to all of this?
Oh, yes. Oh, definitely.
So people can
If-
come and
if
do
the
research.
store would- This library, Laura will be a first-class library, like the Schomburg. Anybody heard of the Schomburg? It happened to be in Harlem. I went to school in Harlem. I visited the Schomburg. Didn't have anything too much to do with Native Americans, but it had to do with African culture. It has some of the best research material. If you want to go, I have to revisit the Schomburg to see if they do have anything from a Native perspective. So, good question. Very good question. Any other questions? And, well, I thank you again for taking the journey with me through the building, and I'm hoping that you like as well as I liked when I drew it and did the model of it. And one day, hopefully, I'm on a planet that will be built. And that people will be able to see it. That they'll be able to see it. Well, if there's no more questions, I thank you for coming.
Thank you.